Hey y'all, this is your K-pop auntie Carly, and this is Xikers. Well, this is Minji, but we will move on to the rest of the members as well. This is the KQ content itself, introducing KQ fellas too before they were Xikers, and get to just kind of have a few questions here. I don't know what the questions are going to be since they are all in Korean down there. We have chapters, but a little bit of an introduction, getting to know the guys in their own words, it sounds like. Kitty Cam today, we just have Autumn back there. How you doing, Autumn? She's great. She's having a bath. It's fantastic. All right, let's bring the volume down a little bit here.
안녕하십니까. 저는 20살 김민재입니다. 네, 혈액형은 B형이고
And it is going to take me a hot second to remember names, faces, ages, but I believe we are starting from the eldest. Yes?
20살
It's usually
김민재입니다.
how it goes.
네,
20 years
혈액형은
old.
B형이고
Blood type is B.
MBTI는
INFP.
맏형을 맡고 있습니다.
Oldest. What's your charming point? Oh God.
주변에서
My trainee friends would tell me. Oops, I did not mean to pause
친구들이
that.
말해주기를 이제 집중할 때
That when I focus or concentrate,
굉장히
I look
멋있다고
cool.
얘기를 많이 해주는데 제가 생각해도 음악할
When I
때
do music, I
집중하는
focus.
저의 모습과 또 그렇지 않고 숙소에서
And when I'm not,
쉴 때
I'm very
나오는
free and
뭔가
soft
부드러운
when I'm
상반되는
in
매력이
dorms.
저의 매력.
Okay, so yeah, he gets intense when he focuses. That's not, that's not too unusual, I don't think. A lot of people have a intense focus face. So I think that opposite side of me can be a charming point.
포인트라고 생각을 합니다.
How would you describe yourself in one sentence?
저는 열정 가득 불도저입니다.
I'm a bulldozer
성격상
full of passion. Okay. When I'm in charge of something, I gotta take it to the end.
하나를 맡으면 끝을 봐야 되는 성격이고.
Alright. Good characteristic in a leader, I guess. You know, you gotta be careful of being a bulldozer, but yeah, that drive to finish something all the way to the end, that's admirable. And I tend to do everything thinking that I want to pour
모든
everything
걸
in.
쏟아붓겠다라는 자세로 매사에 임하는 성격이어서 열정 가득 불도저.
So I'd like to say that I'm a bulldozer full of passion. How did you get to dream of becoming a singer?
저는 어릴 때부터
I was an ordinary student who
공부를 되게
studied
열심히
hard
하는
since I was young.
학생이었는데 그때 음악 방송 무대를
I happened to see a
보게
performance
됐어요.
on a music
뭔가
show.
내가
Maybe
있어야
I'm
할
not the
곳이
person who should be
책상이
sitting in front of
아니지
a desk all day.
않을까라는 생각이 그냥 문득 들었고.
That's why you stand in front of them. See? You stand. You stand in front of your desks. That suddenly came to my mind. As I said before, if I'm into something, I must try it myself. That's how I naturally started to dream of becoming a singer. How did you feel when you first became a trainee? I like those boots, by the way. It was full of fascinating things. I've never danced or sung before. He never danced or sang before becoming a trainee. Is that? Learning how to dance and sing was amazing to me. Oh, wow. So he became a trainee in order to learn how to sing and dance. That is impressive, because I think a lot of times people's origin stories, they begin before that. They started at a fine arts academy or something, and then they became a trainee. Or that's not necessarily the, hey, I think I'd going to a show and seeing somebody sing and say, hey, I kind of want to try that. How about I become a trainee and learn how to? I think you can say it was a very good challenge. That's how I thought when I started my trainee life. Do you have any memorable episodes during practice? Since I'm a rapper, it's very natural for me to write lyrics. And during the monthly evaluation, I was writing my own rap. I remember I kept fixing the lyrics even 2 days before the evaluation. And it was 2 hours before the evaluation. Even if I did rehearsals 5 times, I got the lyrics wrong 5 times because he kept changing them, I take it. Oof. But as expected, I succeeded in the actual performance. Alright, so yeah, I can imagine that it was memorable for him because it was nerve-wracking. Like, yeah, if even up to 2 hours beforehand, before you're being evaluated, you're like continually forgetting your lyrics or your lines or whatever it is, that you'd be like, ooh. But then you nailed it, you're like, yes. What is your concern these days?
이제 가사
Lyrics.
아무래도 저는
I want to make
저만의
music with my
이야기를
own
가지고
stories.
사람들한테
Good. That's one of the reasons I'm really thinking of diving into xikers, because I love self-produced groups because of exactly what he just said there. That the stories are theirs, the lyrics are coming from them, and you get to hear about how the art is made through their own mouths, and make people listen to them.
음악으로 그거를 들려드리고 싶은 마음이 가장 큰데 사람들한테 내가 들려줄
So I
수
think
있는
I contemplate a lot about what kind of stories I can tell people through lyrics. Yeah, that is very cool. And why is it always the rappers, man? Why do the rappers always seem to be the ones who come on board and are writing their own stuff right from the get-go and incorporating it into stuff? It'll be interesting to see the differences between ATs and xikers as they come through, because ATs was kind of like the first big thing with KQ Entertainment, and I know that especially the rappers write their own raps and stuff, and Hong Jung is getting into more production as well as helping these guys out, and I'm sure that KQ is growing through this as well, learning to trust their trainees and what lines to draw and everything. So there is going to be a difference between how ATs was treated as they began and how these guys are treated as they begin, because there's been a learning process through ATs and how to kind of handle and deal with artists who want to do their own stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this comes together.
이야기가 어떤 게 있을까에 대해서 고민을 가장 많이 하는 것 같습니다.
Hang on, I think I missed that. So I think I contemplate a lot about what kind of stories I can tell people through lyrics. Itchy nose. What's your way to solve your problems? Okay, what's his problem-solving method? At the end of each day, I have a time to organize.
끝날 때마다 오늘 내가 어떤 일들을 겪으면서 어떤 생각을 했는지
I have time to organize what I went through and what I thought about. And because of that, I think I started to be able to be more honest and write the lyrics to people with sincerity. Okay, so he has a little time at the end of the days in which he self-reflects, is what it sounds like. Which, I mean, that's a very good practice. I should do that. Thank you, Minji. It's seriously, hi dude, how you doing? If we all did that a little bit more often, just it took a little bit of time to reflect on our days, we would live a much more intentional life. Doc is incoming. So that's a very good practice. That is a candle, yes. What kind of person am I?
저는 주변
I'm a person who gives faith to people around me.
주변에서 겪는
I want to
어려움들을
share the
같이 나누고
difficulties that
싶어하는
people
마음이
have
가장
around me.
커서 저희
I want to share the difficulties of the people around me. Hi, how are you? I've been through the trainee years with my friends here.
연생 친구들이랑 연생 시절을 보내오고 지금도 열심히
And even
연습을
now,
하면서
we have many
생기는
things that
일들을
happen
같이
while
뭔가
practicing, so I want to become a
이겨낼 수
person
있는
who can overcome
사람이
it together.
되고 싶었고 그런 역할을 지금
I think that's the role I'm
열심히
playing.
하고 있다고 생각합니다.
What kind of person do you want to become?
여유를 줄 수 있는
I
사람이
want to become
되고
a person
싶습니다.
who is
열심히
very
뭔가를 계속
relaxing.
해나가고
It's true that we
준비해야
have to
되는
always
거지만
work hard and
그
prepare for
상황에서
something,
즐길
but I
수
want
있는
to
것들을
enjoy the
저희
things
연생
that
친구들이랑
I can
같이
enjoy
즐기고
with my
싶은
trainee
마음이
friends.
가장 큽니다.
Excuse you. One last thing you would like to say.
저희 연생
I'd like to say something to my
친구들한테
trainee friends.
한마디를 하겠습니다. 항상 저희
We're always
정말
like family.
가족처럼 지내고 있는데 너무 잘
Thank you so much for helping me
도와주고
and making me happy.
항상 즐겁게 해줘서 너무 고맙고 앞으로 같이
Let's practice
지금처럼
hard and
열심히
healthy like now
또
together.
건강하게 연습하면서 꼭 데뷔했으면
Hope we can make debut. Well, that they did. That they did. And good debut it was. Really enjoy their music so far. I am going to check out more and more of their stuff. All right, let's get into Jun Min.
안녕하세요. 저는 20살 보컬 포지션을 맡고 있는 박준민입니다.
Park Jun Min, 20 years old, vocalist.
제 혈액형은 AB형이고 MBTI는
Blood type is AB, me as well. And my MBTI is ISFJ. Motto, what is your motto?
제 좌우명은
My
실수를
motto is
두려워
don't
말고
be afraid of
계속
mistakes
도전하라입니다.
and keep
제가
making
새로운 일
challenges. I guess keep challenging yourself. I'm afraid of trying something new.
두려움을 느끼고 약간 움츠러들
A lot of us are, yeah. So that's Not necessarily something that you hear a lot of people admit to, though, because it's not like seen as this great thing to be afraid of trying something new. Most people are like, "Oh yeah, I love trying new stuff. I want to do the." But you say, "Hey, I'm afraid of trying something new." I tend to cringe. Yeah, I tend to cringe. But I wish that I don't get scared of that and continue to challenge myself. Cool. So he's going after it head on. It's part of that intentional lifestyle. It's being intentional about how you approach life, like knowing that you're scared of something and challenging yourself to go against it. So I have that as my motto. What part of you do you want people to notice?
저는 어떻게 하면 더 멋있어질 수 있을까에
I'm a person who thinks a
대해서
lot about
많이
how can I
생각을
become
하는
cooler.
사람인데 계속 도전하고 노력하는
I'll become part
박준민이
Jun Min,
돼서
who
저를
keeps
계속
challenging to work hard.
지켜봐주신다면
You said to work
계속
hard
도전하고 노력하는
and working hard.
박준민이 돼서
Keeps
저를
challenging and
계속
working hard.
지켜봐주신다면
If you keep your
저의
attention on me,
계속 발전하는 모습을
I'll be able to show you how much I keep improving. And so I
보여드릴
hope
수 있을
you
것
would take note
같아서
of that.
그런 점을 좋게 봐주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
It is one of the things that I like about, the only group that I have followed from the beginning, since I'm fairly new to K-pop, is Extraordinary Heroes. But even then, I can tell this little bit of, the growth and development. Stray Kids is the group that I pay the most attention to. And even then, I've gone all the way back and listened to almost all of, the Three Racha stuff now. And you can totally tell the progression. I've listened to all the music of theirs and everything. You can tell this progression in which they were getting better. So it is going to be one of the cool things is seeing it real time with these newer groups, is being able to see that growth. How did you dream of becoming a singer?
중학교 때 학원에서
When I was in middle school, my friend showed me a music video of a singer.
그때 보고 와 진짜
I saw it and
멋있다
thought, wow, it's really cool. And suddenly I thought I should do this job.
하고 생각이 들어서 그때부터 가수의
Now that's when I
꿈을
started
가지게
dreaming
되었던
of
것
becoming a singer. How did you feel when you first became a trainee?
처음 연습생이 됐을 때
When I
되게
first became a
설레고
trainee, I
기쁜
was so
마음이
happy and
있었는데
excited.
한편으로는 걱정도
But on the
되게
other hand,
많았어가지고
I was worried a
내가
lot
잘
too.
할 수 있을까라는
I came in thinking,
마음으로
will I be able to do
들어왔었는데
well?
먼저
Oh yeah, that's also a fear. He's being very open right now about fears, and just you come into an institution in which there are a bunch of other guys who are really good at what they do, and you're like, whew, man, hope I can do well. But the friends who came here before me cheered me on and led me well,
잘 이끌어줘서 즐겁게 연습생
and so I was
생활을
able to
할수
have a
있었던 것
great
같아요.
time as a trainee. Any memorable episode while practicing?
얼마 전에
We did a dance on a hip-hop song for the monthly evaluation recently. They said we have good chemistry. So I think the monthly evaluation was really memorable. Okay, so it sounds like I'm not too well versed on the monthly evaluations and how that looks when you are kind of in a group pre-debut, but it sounds like they do still both the individual monthly evaluations, like with the rap, changing the rap up and everything, but finally nailing it, but also they still work together as a group during the monthly evaluations, and I think, if I remember correctly, the groups start larger and they kind of whittle them down, which is probably part of that monthly evaluation thing, where if the chemistry isn't good amongst certain members, they kind of probably peel off, so yeah, very cool to hear that they have good chemistry as a dance group in the monthly evaluations. What is your concern these days? What I'm thinking about the most these days is I'm thinking about what kind of efficient way I should use to grow a lot in a short time. I'm liking Jun Min. He's definitely a thinker. He's talking about his fears, and now he's saying dude, I gotta get really better really fast. What's the best way to do that? He's I need to focus. I always want me to be cooler tomorrow than yesterday. I'm guessing cooler isn't necessarily the best English translation of what he's saying there, because in English, to be cooler is totally just about attitude. You're cool. It's your attitude is cool. Oh, because the things that you dress make you look cool. You know, it's not, I don't think he's necessarily meaning the same thing when he says, like, I want to become cooler. It's like, because he's talking about how to get better. So there's got to be some different way of translating that word right there. Probably something along the lines of, I want to be, you know, I want to be better. You know, I want to become better, not necessarily cooler, but so that's what I think about a lot these days. Better in the aspect of, you know, more talented type of, you know, a better person. I don't know. What's your way to solve? What's your problem solving technique?
저는 가장 빨리
The
읽는 게
fastest way
제가
for
알고
me to
있는
improve
것을
is to let other
같이
trainees
연습하고
know
있는
what
제
I know
친구들에게 한 번 더 알려주면서
and
배우는
also
것이
learn
있기 때문에
something through it. Okay, so he likes, and I definitely learned that when I became a coach, is that, you know, you can do something and you do it well, but when you have to turn around and teach somebody, it's like you actually in the process learn it better yourself, because you have to go back and pick apart, okay, how am I doing what I am doing? You know, is again that intentional thing. Like, you have to be intentional about it, because after a while, something like, I was a soccer player, and something like from the time I was 6 all the way through college, and it became just rote muscle memory at one point, and I didn't think about it, right? And so in order to teach other people how to do what I was doing, I had to slow down and be intentional about, okay, where's my foot going? How is my ankle moving? Like, I dip a little bit right here. Like, you have to, like, yeah, you also learn something through teaching other people way more than before. Yeah, I think that's the most efficient way. So I'm using that method these days. Okay, so he's turning around and he's training other trainees. That's cool. I can learn a lot as well as my trainee friends while I teach them. Very cool. I can say it's like a win-win. No, I totally get that. What kind of person am I?
저도 아직 저를 100%
I don't know myself 100%. So to describe myself in one word, yeah, definitely a big thinker. Definitely a big thinker, because who says that? Like, when you say, hey, what kind of person are you? Who says, I don't know myself 100%? Like, that's like even to be like admitting of that in and of itself is pretty cool. So I don't know myself 100%. So to describe myself in one word, I think I'm a person who tries to be a good person. Okay, I like this guy. I like Jun Min. I like him a lot. I'm trying to find myself in the future as well. I'll show you how I grow and improve. What kind of person do you want to be?
저는 남들이 저한테 많은 의지를 할
The
수
more
있도록
others rely on me,
제가 더 강한
I want to
사람이
become
되고
a
싶습니다.
strong person.
앞에서 말했다시피
As I said
저는
before,
저를
I'm getting
지금
to know
알아가고
myself.
있는 중이라서 저를 완벽히
If I
알게
get to
되면
know
그때
myself perfectly, I'm sure I'll be a strong
제가
person.
강한 사람이 돼 있을 거라고 확신하고 강한 사람이 돼서
If I become a strong person so that others can rely on me
의지할 수 있고 많은 힘을 얻어갈 수 있도록
and gain strength from me as
노력하겠습니다.
well. Okay, so yeah, he wants to know himself completely and become strong through that method, which he is totally in that time of life right now. There's this time of life in which you go from, you know, you get out of your parents' house, basically, and you start reflecting on yourself, and it's like, okay, this is the me that was taught. Like, I was taught a lot of things. I was taught things that it winds up I agree with, and I was taught other things that it winds up I don't agree with. And there's things that I was taught that I don't know how I feel about. And then you kind of move into this phase of life of figuring out who just like you are without that external input into you. You know, now that it's all in there, you're like, okay, now what does all of this mean to like me? And he sounds like he is going through a very intentional effort to figure out like who he is now that he's kind of had all of that input into him. You know, what is he going to do with all of that? You know, he himself. I like it. One last thing you would like to say.
제 좌우명과 맞게
I'll continue to
앞으로
challenge
계속
myself
도전하고
with my
실수를
motto.
두려워하지 않는
I will do my
그런
best to become a
국민이
person
될
who's
수
not
있도록
afraid of making
노력하겠습니다.
mistakes.
그러니 앞으로 저를
So I'd appreciate it if you could
지켜봐
watch
주시고
on me
응원해
and
주시면
support me as well.
감사하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Cool. I like him. I like his philosophy and his kind of outlook. And if like these guys keep on being like this, like I said, intentional, it's becoming a theme so far. So we'll see if we have that theme continuing on with these other guys. All right. Sumin.
안녕하십니까? 저는 19살 B형
19. What's
MBTI는
it mean?
INTP 그리고 랩 포지션을 맡고 있는 최수민입니다.
Hang on, I missed how he
19살
pronounced his name.
MBTI는 INTP 그리고 랩 포지션을 맡고 있는 최수민입니다.
I still missed it.
19살 B형 MBTI는 INTP 그리고 랩 포지션을 맡고 있는 최수민입니다.
How am I continuing to miss his name? Is it?
안녕하십니까?
I can hear Choi.
저는 19살 B형 MBTI는 INTP 그리고 랩 포지션을 맡고 있는 최수민입니다.
Am I not hearing Sumin? I can hear Choi. What the heck? Hang on.
안녕하십니까? 저는 19살 B형 MBTI는 INTP 그리고 랩 포지션을 맡고 있는 최수민입니다.
Is it just because he's a rapper and he's talking fast? Rappers rap fast, rappers talk fast. Like, I'm just... Sumin. I'm just going with Sumin. What am I most confident in?
제가
Do not answer this like Felix of Stray Kids, please.
제일 자신 있는 것은
Drawing. Okay.
그림이-
Artist. I'm most confident in drawing. I drew a picture at a drawing contest when I was in elementary school and received the highest award that was called the Special Award, and so my drawing got in a calendar. Ah. Okay. Kind of abstract coming out of the head.
있었습니다.
How do you describe yourself as an
제가
animal?
생각하기에는 저는
Became a
살짝
chameleon.
카멜레온인 것 같습니다. 왜냐면
Okay,
제가
explanation.
옷 입는 걸 좋아하는데
Because I like to wear
카멜레온이
clothes. It's better than not liking to wear clothes, I guess. Because I like to wear clothes. Just as a chameleon changes color
어떤
in certain
상황에서 색깔이
situations,
바뀌듯이 진짜 스타일을
I always
좀
dress
항상
in
다르게
different
입고
styles.
그 색깔도 여러 개 써서
and I use
코디를
lots
하기
of colors to
때문에
coordinate
저는
myself, so
카멜레온인
I
것
think I'm a chameleon. All right, so he's got a bit of an artist brain to him. He likes drawing, and he likes expressing himself with his clothing. Yeah? How did you dream of becoming a singer?
제가 가수의
The reason
꿈을
why I
꾸게 된
dreamed of becoming
계기는
a singer,
2018년
when I was in middle school
중학생 때
in
친구가
2018, God, way to make me feel old. It was my 10-year anniversary when 2018. It's fine. I saw not of high school, of getting married. I saw my friend dancing at a celebratory performance,
축하공연으로
and I
춤추는
thought
걸
I
보고
also
나도
wanted to
한번
dance.
춤춰보고 싶다라는 생각에 춤으로 시작했다가
So I started
자연스럽게
dancing,
가수로
and that
이르게 된
naturally
것
led me to becoming a singer. How did you feel when you first became a trainee?
제가 처음 연습생
When I first
됐을
became a
때
trainee,
월말
I had a
평가
monthly
같은 게 있었는데
evaluation.
그때
was
긴장도
really
많이
nervous.
돼가지고 엄청 떨기도 했고 그리고
So I couldn't
준비한
show
걸
everything I
못 보여줬기
prepared,
때문에
and so
아쉬운
it was
점들이
really a bummer.
많았는데 요즘에는
But these days,
긴장도 막
I'm
그렇게
not
많이 안
that
하고
nervous. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, the very first monthly evaluation, you'd think so. You'd think you'd be incredibly nervous. Get up there, and you got all these judges kind of staring down at you, just waiting. And yeah, apparently he forgot to do some of the stuff he was going to do. Oops.
제대로 연습한 거를
So I'm able to show about 90%, 80% of what I prepared.
90%? 막 80% 정도 보여줄 수
So I still
있어가지고
get a little
그
nervous.
전보다 확실히 많이
So I
는
think I have really improved compared to previously. Do you have any memorable episodes during practice? It's kind of cool hearing these little stories. Is the most memorable episode from our group practice?
일인데 영상 찍어서 봤을 때
And when
와
we
진짜
filmed the
잘
video back
맞는다
then,
했을
we thought
때가
we just sync and
오,
click so
가능력
well. I was like, oh,
좋네 라는 생각이
we have great
들어서
teamwork.
그때가 제일 기억에
So I
남습니다.
remember that the most. All right, I'm probably eventually going to see whatever video he's talking about. Not that I'll know which video it is, but yeah, cool. Yeah, it kind of goes along the lines with, the memory being, the group evaluation, and they danced really well together. What is your concern these days?
제가 요즘
My
가장
biggest
많이 하는
concern these
고민은
days is
제 랩 톤에 대해서
I think a
좀
lot
고민을 많이
about my
하는 것
rap
같습니다.
tone.
곡에 따라
I don't know
제
if I
톤을
should
맞춰야
match my
할지
tone
아니면
with the song,
제 톤을 그대로
or just
가져가야
take my
할지가
tone and
요즘
keep
제일
it
큰
throughout the
고민인 것
song.
같습니다.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's a good question. I think he's asking, like, should I have, like, my signature sound, my tone, and keep it throughout the song, or should I, like change my tone up to, fit into the song better? And yeah, that's something he'll have to figure out, do you want to have your signature tone? Or do you want to have a much more diverse, dynamic sound to it? Which I can imagine, especially when you begin, especially when you're starting out. I think everybody would probably want to kind of go to the side of having a really diverse dynamic. You can rap a bunch of different ways to a bunch of different kinds of sounds, but these guys are just starting out. And I can see the struggle with a rapper who is just starting out, being like, do I want to try to go like diverse like right now, or do I just like want to like really get my signature tone down and like nail that? Like, do I want to be really good at one thing, in the beginning, or do I want to try to widen my base from the beginning, and you can go from there. So like, ooh, that's a harder question. That is a harder question of how do you want to start and build. What's your problem solving technique? What's your way to solve your problem?
계속 연습하는 방법밖에
I think
없는 것
the only way
같아가지고
is to
계속
keep
또
practicing.
연습,
So I'm just going to keep practicing on and
연습하고
on.
있는 것 같습니다.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, eventually if he keeps practicing, he won't have to ask himself the question of, do I want to keep my tone, my signature tone to fit the song and have the song fit to it, or do I want to like change my sound to fit the song, because he'll be able to do whatever he wants to do in the future if he keeps practicing. What kind of person are you?
저희 연습생
I
친구들끼리
think I
같이
shine
있을 때
when I'm with my
빛이
trainee
나는 사람인
friends.
것 같습니다. 저희 연습생
When I'm
친구들끼리
with my
같이
trainee
있게
friends, I
되면
tend to laugh a
계속
lot, and it
웃게
makes me
되고
brighter.
밝아지게 되는
Awesome to
것
hear.
같아서 연습생
So I
친구들끼리
think I'm a
함께
person who
있을 때
shines more
제가 더
when I'm
빛나는
with them.
사람인 것 같습니다.
Okay, so his friends bring out the best in him, the brighter, lighter side of him. That's good. What kind of person do you want to be?
앞으로의
I want to become a person
행보가
who people
기대되는
look
사람이
forward
되고
to his
싶습니다.
future.
아직
I
데뷔를
don't know
언제
when I'll
할지는
make my
모르겠지만
debut yet,
무대를 보고
but I hope a
이 친구는 뭔가
performance
기대가
would make people who see
된다라는
us look forward to
생각이
our future, which a lot of people are. Yeah,
들었습니다.
he nailed that one. One last thing you'd like to say.
앞으로 계속 꾸준히
I'll continue to be Choi
열심히
Sumin.
그리고 연습
I heard it that time. I heard it that time. Choi Shumi. Is it more of a sound than sound? Shumin. Who keeps up the good work and works hard in the future as well.
될 테니까 앞으로 기대 많이 해주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
So please look forward.
감사합니다.
Choi Sumin. Yes. Okay. I'm liking these so far, and we are barely scratching the surface because there are 10 of these guys. there are 10 of these guys, yo.
안녕하세요. 저는
Hello.
안녕하세요.
I
저는
said pause. Thank you.
안녕하세요.
함진식.
저는 19살 함진식입니다. 혈액형은 A형이고
19, blood type A,
ISFJ.
ISFJ.
제 포지션
Like he has like, what am I? ISFJ? That's right.
보컬
Vocal.
포지션을 맡고 있습니다.
What is your first impression that you think of yourself? What is the first thing you think of when you think of yourself? Because it's hard to have a first impression of yourself. So, I'm gonna guess as like, what is the first thing you think of when you think of yourself?
처음 보면은
When you see me for the first time,
소심한 수줍음
you would think
많은
I'm timid and shy.
그런 아이라고
Okay, so what do other people think there is this first impression? Okay.
생각할 것 같습니다. 친해지고
But once you
나면은
get close,
장난기
I'm
많고
active and mischievous.
활발한 에너지가 될 수 있는
I think I can be a
그런
good friend
친구가
with
될 수
such
있을
energy.
거라고.
Okay, so he's the kind of person who opens up when around people that he gets to know, but otherwise he just kind of keeps to himself. I think a lot of people are like that. You just kind of keep to yourself, but when you're with people that you actually know, it's like, oh, you open up. Yeah.
라고 생각합니다.
What part of you do you want people to notice about you?
뭔가 저를
I think it
봐주실
would be
때
good if
그
you would
활발한
take note of my
성격을
active
받으시면
personality
좋을 것
when you
같습니다.
look at me.
아까 첫인상에서도
As I said in my first
말씀드렸다시피
impression,
저를
and when you see
처음
me for
보실
the first
때는
time, I might look a
무뚝뚝해 보일 수도
little
있지만
blunt.
뭔가 친해지면
Little blunt. I'm guessing he might. We don't usually use that kind of phrase because you're blunt when you speak. So when you look blunt, I'm guessing that means you look like somebody who would be maybe a little abrasive. Is that what that's supposed to mean? You look like somebody who's like dismissive. Is that? But the closer you get to me, the more active and
친해질수록
fun I become.
활발하고 재밌는 성격이
Yeah, some of the translations in here, like I think I get what they're saying. It's just not spot on. Like the more active and fun I become, I'm guessing the more active I become means like the more I start to take part in conversations. You know, the more I open up, and the more, you know, if you sit down next to him and you don't know him, he's not gonna like be actively befriending you But if you're friends, then you sit down next to him. Oh, hey, he's active in the
나오기
friendship.
때문에
I'm guessing
그건
that's it.
정말
So I hope you
눈여겨보시면
could keep that in
좋겠습니다.
mind. How did you dream of becoming a singer?
학창 시절 때
When I was little, I saw
아는
Hyung
형의
Aino singing.
노래 부르는 모습을 보고 그 모습을
I was so moved by that.
가지고 그때 이후로
Since then,
이제
I've dreamed of
가수의
becoming a
꿈을
singer.
키우게 되었습니다.
How did you feel when you first became a trainee?
처음 이제 연습생이
When I
됐을
first
때
became a trainee, it
뭔가
didn't feel
실감이
real.
안 났지만 막상 이제 회사에
But when I
들어가
joined the
보니까
company,
뭔가 좀 긴장도
I
많이
was
되고
really
잘
nervous, and I think I
어울릴 수
was
있을지에
worried if I
대한
could adapt
걱정이
well. So was he possibly training with somebody else first? Because I don't know if that was like a progression from one to the next. When I first became a trainee, it didn't feel real.
됐을 때 뭔가 실감이 안 났지만 막상 이제 회사에
But
들어가
when I
보니까
joined the
뭔가
company, as in KQ, as opposed to another company, or like when he first became a trainee, just like signed the paperwork, as opposed to actually like going to the company
좀
and
긴장도 많이 되고
doing stuff, I was really
뭐
nervous. I think I was
잘
worried if I
어울릴 수
could adapt well.
있을지에 대한 걱정이 많았던 것 같습니다.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, I guess it's part of being that introvert who doesn't really actively step out and get to know others well. Is like, yeah, if you're like that, if you're kind of that introverted private person, then can you adapt well to this, situation in which you're basically going into a classroom and trying to prove yourself, right? Do you have any memorable episodes during practice?
연습생 초반 때 이제
At
기본기
the beginning of a trainee, we learned basic dance moves for the monthly
어떤
evaluation.
때가 있는데 그때 기본기
It was so hard to
안무를
learn the
익히는 게
basic
너무
dance moves.
어려웠어가지고 힘들었었는데 형들이 많이
But Hyung's helped me a
도와줘가지고
lot, so
그래도
I was
수월하게
able to
할수
overcome
있었습니다.
easily. Alright, so it sounds like KQ Entertainment definitely has a culture of trainees helping other trainees. And I know they're a little bit smaller than other companies at this point. So that might be, part of it. But it sounds like there's a lot of cooperation within the ranks of trainees, which is good to hear because an atmosphere like this could, it could be really easy to have this hostile competition because only a certain amount of people are going to debut. And there's going to be a big temptation from people to, like, you want to debut, so you want other people to not do as well as you, right? You want to be the best. You want to be the best, and that by definition means other people are not as good as you. The problem is when you want other people to do poorly so that you can look better, and it's a part of that competition where you definitely get people who come in and they don't want you to do well so that they can do well. But it sounds like at KQ, a couple of guys have now said that hey, I really enjoy teaching other people. Hey, these Hyungs really helped me out in teaching me how to dance, and I wouldn't have been able to do it otherwise. So yeah, it sounds like there's a healthy competition going on there. What's your concern these days? We keep taking monthly evaluations, and I want to show that I did better than last month. Just want to show improvement. So whether it's dancing or singing, improving myself is the biggest concern these days. What's your way to solve your problem?
꾸준히 연습을 계속하고
Well,
있는데
I keep practicing for now, and when I have something that I can't or I don't know how to do,
같이 연습하는
I get advice from the trainees I practice with.
조언을 듣는다거나 제가 배우고 있는
or I get advice from
선생님께서
our teacher.
저에게
Oh yeah, I like that he mentioned before the teacher getting advice from other trainees on how to do something. They're helping each other
조언을
out.
주시는 그런 방안을
And
통해서
so I can say I solve it
해결을 하고
with
있는
these
것
ways. Okay. What kind of person am I?
저는
I'm a
착한
good
사람.
person? It's like I'm a good person? Ah.
연습생
But to have a
친구들과
good relationship with the
좋은
trainees,
관계를
I bring up the atmosphere or give them some sweets. Aw. Okay, so a little bit of an intentional there as well. So he wants to have a good relationship with people. So consciously makes the effort to, lighten the mood, bring the atmosphere up, get everybody into a good mood, or just like, hey, stop by somewhere, buy some people some snacks, some treats, and hand it out. And yeah,
위해서
absolutely.
더
You want to become
재밌게
good friends with a guy, just
분위기를
buy him
띄운다든지
food.
먹을 걸 준다든지 합니다. 네.
What kind of person do you want to be? Has she moved?
나중에 다른 연습생들이
I want to grow up to be an
저를
adult
보면서
that
존경하고
other trainees can
배울 점이
respect and
많은
learn a lot from later
그런
when they see me. So
어른이
yeah, he
되고
wants to
싶은
give back. He wants to help train others. One last thing you'd like to say?
항상 저를 응원해
I have family
주시고
and friends who always support me and
위로해
comfort me.
주시는 가족분들과 친구들이 있는데 앞으로도 잘 부탁드리고
Thank you.
계속 열심히
And I will
하고
continue to work and
성장할
improve, so
테니
please keep
지켜봐
looking
주세요.
forward on me. Thank you. Cool. I like that. Anything else to say? And his reaction is to be thankful to those who have helped him get to this point. Hold on, dude. Let me bring you up here. All right. Have they moved much back there? Hey, you guys. Oh, that's adorable. All right. Choi Hyun-woo. 19 years old.
19살 최현우입니다. 혈액형은 O형이고
Blood type O.
MBTI는
INFP.
INFP 그리고 포지션은 보컬을
Vocal.
맡고 있습니다.
If you were to express yourself as an animal, what kind of animal are you?
저는 여우라고 생각합니다.
Fox.
왜냐하면
Lots of my
친구들이
friends said to me
가끔
that I look like a
저한테 여우를
fox.
닮았다고 많이 말을 해서
All right, so he's
여우가
going with the looks instead of the I would be a chameleon because I like wearing a lot of different clothes. That's why a fox comes up to my mind
많이
first.
생각나는 것 같습니다.
Why did you want to be a singer?
제가 원래 음악을 좋아하기도
I liked
했고
music since I was young,
학교 밴드부에서
and I participated in my
활동을
school
하면서
band.
그렇게 다른 사람들에게
So I thought it felt
제가
good to
노래하는
show other
모습을
people how I
보여주는
sang.
게 정말 행복하고 재밌다고 느껴서 가수의 꿈을 가지게
That's why I
됐습니다.
wanted to be a singer. How did you feel when you first became a trainee?
설레는 마음이 크기도 했지만
First, I was so
그래도 다른
excited,
지역에서
but I was the
혼자
only
이렇게
one
와서
who was from
생활하다
another
보니까
city. Oh, are all of these, So he was surrounded by basically a lot of dudes from Seoul, and he's the only one who came in from outside. I also felt kind of anxious, but other trainees took great care of me.
친구들이 저한테 잘해주기도 하고 적응에 도움을
And they
많이
helped me a
줘서
lot to get
빨리
used-
적응하고
He speaks
친구들이
fast. Hang on.
저한테 잘해주기도 하고 적응에 도움을
They helped me a lot to get used to our training. Oh yeah, I'm guessing by saying that other trainees took care of me. He was, I'm guessing, younger when he came in. He's 19 now, but he's probably even younger than that when he came in, and he lived in the dorms because he's saying, hey, I was the only one who wasn't really I wasn't from the area, which means the other guys who live in the area, they were probably living at home still. Let me know if it's different. And there's probably a point in the pre-debut era in which they do all move together into a dorm in order to get that group cohesion going on. But when you're just training, you're probably still living with your parents and stuff, especially as a minor. So this guy wasn't, and very cool. Again, they're helping him out. Trainees are taking care of him because he's away from home. Helped me a lot get used to our training. So I was able to focus on my training better than I thought. What thoughts are on your mind when you're practicing?
제가 춤을 춰본 경험이
I haven't
적어서
danced much,
춤에 많이 힘들어했는데
so it was hard for me to dance well. I'm thankful to my trainee friends who always helped me a lot. Yeah, big emphasis from a lot of these, coming from a lot of these guys on this cooperative atmosphere.
항상 고맙고 더 열심히 해야겠다는 생각이
I think I should practice harder. What is your main concern these days?
아무래도 실력적인
As I
면에서
always
더
want to develop my
성장하고 싶은
skills
마음이
more.
크다 보니까 연습할 때 잘
I
안
feel
되는 게
concerned
가장
when I
고민인 것
cannot
같습니다.
do well while I'm
보컬적인 면에서
practicing.
성장하고
Especially, I want to
싶은데
improve my vocal
어떻게 해야
skills.
할지
My main concept is how to improve it and
스스로
how to
연습해야
practice it.
될지가 가장 큰 고민인 것 같습니다.
Yeah, okay, because yeah, those are different. It's a simple little sentence, but how to improve it and how to practice it. So that's picking apart. Again, it's being intentional, picking apart, what it is that is going to improve your voice. Okay, because you can just go to vocal practices and all, and you can do what your instructor tells you to do, and you can practice. But he's drilling down and pinpointing, like, what is it that I want to improve in my voice? Like, what is it? And, like, once I find out what it is that I want to improve, like, how is it that I am going to practice improving that? You know, it's, again, a very intentional mindset.
어떤 식으로 연습해야 될지가 가장 큰 고민인 것 같습니다.
What's your solution to your concerns?
다른 가수분들이나
I listen to lots of songs from other singers, my vocal coach, other trainees, again, other trainees,
어떤 연습
and I tried to find out my shortcomings by analyzing what others do while practicing.
많이 찾아보는 것 같습니다.
Yeah, being a student, definitely being a student. What kind of person are you?
저는 항상
I'm a person who
사람인
always
것
tries to
같습니다.
do as much as I
연습생
can.
기간이 짧기도
My
하고
trainee years are shorter
다른
than others. Okay, so he's actually been in for not that long. And I think I'm not as good
친구들보다
as other
부족한
trainees.
게 아직 많다고
Humble.
생각해서 항상 노력하려고
And so I
하고
always
있는 것
try to make an
같습니다.
effort to get better. What kind of person do you want to be?
저는 도전을 두려워하지
I want to be a
않는
person
사람이
who is
되고
not
싶습니다.
afraid of challenge.
새로운 걸 도전하는
I
거를
usually enjoy new
평소에도 즐기긴
challenges,
하지만 아직까지는
but I'm still
두려워하는
afraid
마음이
of
큰것 같아서
challenging.
이제
Yeah, I think that is a little more what people would like to admit to. You know, I'm fearful of challenges coming from earlier. And I think if people are going to, like, actually admit to not being all that happy about being challenged, be like, no, like, I really enjoy trying new things. I enjoy it. It's just concerning. It's the doing of the new thing is concerning. Yeah. And so I want to improve myself and become a person who
더
can
성장해서
enjoy every
어떤 걸
challenge
해도
I meet.
무서워하지 않고 즐길 수 있는 사람이 되고 싶습니다.
One last thing you would like to say.
지금보다 더 열심히
I'll practice harder
연습해서
until I can
좀
show
더
you
멋진
much better
모습으로
performance.
세상에 나갈 수 있도록 하겠습니다. 지켜봐 주세요.
Very cool. Yeah. This is gonna take me a while to get through all these guys. It's fine. It's fine. I need to I'm gonna have to consume a lot of content in order to really get these guys down well. Oh, we should probably make that bigger. There we go. All right, Kim Jong-hoon, 18.
저는 18살 김정훈입니다. 혈액형은 B형,
Blood type B,
MBTI는
INTP.
INTP이고
That's right. There's only two
포지션을 맡고
extroverts.
있습니다.
Vocal. What do you enjoy doing the most? Haven't heard that one
저는
yet.
역시
I think I enjoy singing and dancing the most. Good thing.
굉장히 즐거운 것 같습니다. 제가 생각이 좀 많은
Usually there's a
편인데
lot going on in my
노래할
mind,
때는
but I can only concentrate on my song while singing, and that's why I
노래에만
enjoy
집중할 수
singing.
있어서
Okay, so you see, he has a really busy mind, a lot going on, really busy mind, but when he's singing, it just all melts away, and he's just singing.
노래하는 게
Very
즐거운
cool.
것 같습니다.
If you were to express yourself as an animal, what kind of an animal are you?
저는 고슴도치
I
같은
think I'm like a
사람인 것
hedgehog.
같습니다. 고슴도치가 겉으로
Hedgehogs
봤을
look like
때는
stinging, and it feels like hurt. Ooh, that's a bad term. They look like they would sting you and it like hurt you if you
되게
touch them.
따갑고 만지면 아플 것 같지만 친한 사람들에게는
And they hide their
가시를
spines and show
튀기고
their cute sides to the
귀여운
people they are
모습을
close to.
보여줍니다.
Why did you want to be a singer?
어렸을 때부터
My mother let me
노래를
hear
굉장히
lots of
많이
songs since I was little.
들려주셨는데 그 노래들을
I started to
따라
want to be a singer while
부르고
singing
하다
along
보니까
those
자연스럽게
songs.
가수의 꿈을 키울 수 있게 되었습니다.
How did you feel when you first became a
제가
trainee?
처음 연습생이
When I
되었을
first became a
때
trainee,
기존에 있던
I tried
연습생
really hard to get
친구들과
close to other
친해지기 위해
trainees.
많은 노력을 했던 것 같습니다. 제가 좀 낯을
I'm a bit
가리는
shy around
성격인데
strangers.
먼저
Thus the hedgehog. But I told jokes and talked to them
농담도
first.
하고
Okay,
먼저
so yeah,
말해-
even though he's that introvert and even though he's kind of got that spiny outward appearance, he's okay with approaching people.
걸어서 친해지기 위해 노력을 했던
Which, being a introvert is not it doesn't necessarily mean that you aren't like what people view as an extrovert socially. Like introversion is how it's more about like the energy. Like introvert and extrovert, it's become synonymous with how you interact with other people, and what it really kind of is like how you recharge, how you get your energy. And introverts like being alone. Introverts like their personal space. Introverts, like at the end of the day going home and reading a book. Everybody leave them alone. Whereas extroverts, in order to, like, at the end of the day, they want to go out and have a drink. You know, they want to go out and they want to dance. They want to, you know, get a bunch of friends together. That's how they recharge, you know, is being around other people. So, you know, saying that I am an introvert doesn't necessarily mean, like this guy, that you're not willing to go and approach other people and tell jokes and, you know, kind of be that kind of guy. So it just means that, yeah, like, they probably have really quiet dorms. That's what I'm saying. They probably have, with this many introverts, it doesn't mean that they're not, like, friendly and stuff, but they just probably have really quiet dorms because they're just chilling. Because they... What's the most memorable episode of your trainee days? A while ago, I practiced hard for my monthly evaluation, but I didn't get a good result, so I was a bit depressed. God, that sucks. Yeah, I think everybody knows how it feels to, like, try so hard on something and just crash. My trainee friends supported and encouraged me. And yeah, saying that it wasn't that long ago means that, I mean, this is what they're all saying. They don't know when they're going to debut during these interviews, but it had to have been getting pretty close to knowing that they were going to go from being possible KQ fellas too into being xikers. So this was probably during the era in which there were a lot of cuts being made so that they could figure out who that actual team to debut was going to be. So I can imagine how stressful it would be to, like, have a really bad monthly evaluation during this time in which they're, like, really intensely whittling down to make a group. That's the most memorable moment for me. Ooh! My trainee friend supported and encouraged me. So that's his most memorable moment, is having a really disappointing experience and having his friends rally around him. That's a good one. That's a very good one. They were also trainees practicing together, and their support and encouragement gave me a lot of impression. It made a big impression on me. Yeah. Cool. Very cool. Like I said, cooperative environment is that, because, like I said, it could be very easy to try to keep people down in order for you to rise up. And he's saying, like, hey, it wasn't like that. It's like, they've really supported me, and I've felt like I could do better. You know, it felt good that they weren't trying to beat me down. And nice. What is your main concern these days? I usually practice singing and dancing separately, but I started practicing singing and dancing together. Okay, so performance, yeah. It was much harder than I thought. I can imagine. I don't dance, and I don't sing, and I can only imagine trying to sing while dancing. That's my main concern. What's your solution to your concerns? I think I should try harder and keep practicing. And I think increasing my stamina is helpful. Yeah, getting winded while dancing. So I work out steadily these days. What kind of person are you? I always think about how to dance better, and how to sing better. Yeah, I think I'm a person who has a lot on my mind about that. Trying to improve. What kind of person do you want to be? I always try hard to be a great person in other people's eyes. I would be a great person in the future. One last thing you would like to say. My family and my friends always support me a lot. I want to meet their expectation and become better as Kim Jong-hoon. Nice. Did you just say Kim Jun-hoon? Gotta go with that honey ending, don't you? Okay, who do we have next? Siyun.
안녕하세요. 저는 18살 박세현입니다. 제 혈액형은
18.
O형이고
Blood typo.
MBTI는
ESFJ. Okay, here's one of the two
포지션은
extroverts.
보컬을 맡고 있습니다.
Vocal. What do you say the most often these days?
제가 요즘 가장 자주
What I say
하는
most
말은
often is
굿즈렛입니다.
is
저희가-
what?
제가 요즘 가장 자주 하는 말은 굿즈렛입니다. 저희가
I have no idea what that was supposed to mean. Go. It's the word go
제가 요즘
with the S apostrophe let. Go slut. Why does that sound like go slut? Go slut.
가장
not
자주
gonna.
하는 말은 굿즈렛입니다. 저희가
Oh, when I want to liven things up while
연습할 때
practicing.
분위기를
Oh, see,
올리려고
that's what I thought. That's what I was wondering. If it was let's go. If it was just a typo. Go slut. Oh, I have to say let's go.
렛츠고 렛츠고 이 말을 되게 자주 하는데
Okay.
제가 이제 그거를 신나가지고
One day,
계속 하다가
I got so
렛츠고, 렛츠고,
excited,
렛츠고,
I
렛츠고
accidentally
하다가
said-
굿즈렛으로 바뀌었는데 그게
So yeah,
뭔가
he
이제
got there's is that called a spoonerism where you swap up the first two letters of words. It felt right on my tongue, so I often say it.
잘 달라붙어서
Alright.
그 말 요즘 되게 자주 쓰고 있습니다.
If you were an animal, what would you be?
저를 동물로 표현한다면
Giraffe.
기린인 것 같습니다. 제가 이제
I can see
목이
that.
좀
They're
많이
long
길기도
neck.
하고
And also
키도
tall.
큰데
Is he the
이제
6'3"
기린처럼
guy? There's
얇아서
like a really tall. There's two pretty tall guys in here, and I'm as thin as a giraffe, so
기린이
I
아닌가
think it's a
라고.
giraffe. Why did you want to be a singer?
저는 이제 사실 어릴
Actually, I was a
때는
quiet
되게
introvert when I was young.
조용한 아이였었는데 점점 크면서
People change.
음악이 좋아지고
As I grew up, I started to be
음악이
interested-
좋아지면서 점점 외향적으로 바뀌고
I started to be what?
점점 크면서
Interested
음악이
in
좋아지고
music.
음악이 좋아지면서
And that's when I became
점점
an
외향적으로
outgoing
바뀌고
extrovert.
활발하게 성격이 바뀌면서 자연스럽게
And so I
가수의 꿈을
wanted to be
가지게
a singer
되었습니다.
since then. Huh. Interesting that the concept of becoming a singer kind of led him to be extroverted. How did you feel when you first became a trainee?
처음 연습생이 됐을 때
Is it maybe because he has like the concept of it's a performance, like being a singer, and it's a performance, so you got to get out there in front of people, and it just kind of, yeah, especially at a young age, the personalities can change, you know. Yeah. When I first became a trainee,
저의 꿈에
it
한 발
felt
가깝게
really good because I
다가온
became
거니까
one step closer to my
정말
dream,
기분이 좋았고 뭐든지 할 수 있을 것
and I was
같다는
filled with
의지가
strong determination
활활
that I could do
불타올랐던 것
everything.
같습니다.
What's the most memorable episode of your trainee days?
가장 최근에 봤던
In my
월말
last
평가에서
monthly
저번
evaluation,
평가 때 받았던
I got feedback saying I was improved and got better than the previous evaluation.
라는 피드백을 들어서 제가 연습한 게
I thought my
헛되지
practices
않았고
were paid
정말
off,
열심히
and I've
했구나.
done really well.
보람찬 감정을
It
느꼈습니다.
was so
그래서
rewarding to
가장
me.
기억에 남았던
That's
것
why it's the most memorable episode. Definitely a young person. What's the most rewarding? What's your most memorable practice? The last one I did. The last one I did. But yes, getting all these compliments, I can see where it would be extremely rewarding to get a lot of compliments on how well you're doing and how well you're improving, especially as I said before, when you're probably really close to getting like final formation of a group that's going to debut. What is your main concern these days?
아무래도
My
연습생이다
main concern
보니까
is about my
실력적인
singing and
부분에
dancing
대해서
skills, since I'm a
가장
trainee.
많이 고민을 하고 있고 그리고 요즘 들어서
Recently, I started to
내면적인
think it's
부분이
what's
굉장히
inside
중요하다고
that
생각을
matters.
해서 어떻게 해야
I'm
내면적인
thinking about how I can
부분이 좀
develop inner
발전하고
beauty,
단단해
embrace myself. Nice. Because yeah, there's the singing and the dancing is absolutely a part of it. But what I have learned about these companies is that that's not all that they take into account. That there is that inner dynamic that they have to look at, because you need to see, you know, how are the guys going to be able to interact with one another in a group. Because, dude, it is no joke to have 10 guys, 10 people living with each other in a small space. Like, you need to be, like, a good inside person. You need to be a good person in your core in order to live in a confined space with 10 people for years. Like, that will prove who you are as a human being. So, yeah, being that inner beauty, embrace myself, that's definitely something that you have to have as, you know, a K-pop idol in your debut. That's what's your solution to your concerns?
저는 그런
When I
고민들을
need a
해결하기
solution
위해서
to my
저에
concerns,
대해서 좀 잘
I
알고
usually
있거나
ask people who are close to me and know me well
제가 요즘 어때 보이는지
about how I
어떻게 하면
look
좋을
and
것
what I should
같은지
do these days
많이
and organize my
물어보고
thoughts
조언을
based on their
구해서 제가
advice.
스스로 고민도
I tend to
해보고
find a solution to my
이야기들을
concerns
들은 걸
by talking
바탕으로
with others.
고민을 해결하려고
Yeah, definitely an extrovert thing to do. That's yeah, you don't go and kind of, you know, do your reading and kind of maybe chill a little bit. You go and you talk. You talk by others, you talk things out, you find your solution by just talking to other people.
노력을 하는 것 같습니다.
What kind of person are you?
저는 아까
Like I said
말했다시피
before,
되게
I think I'm an
외향적이고
outgoing, lively
밝은
person.
성격을 가지고 있는 사람인 것 같고 주변 사람들과
I like to get
친하게
close to other
지내고
people
화목한
and
분위기를
prefer
좋아하는
harmonious
사람인 것
vibes. What kind of person do you want to be?
같습니다. 저는 꼭
I really want to
데뷔를
make
해서
my debut and become a cool
멋있는
person.
사람이 되고 싶고 항상 인생을
I want to be
즐겁게
a
사는
person who
사람.
always enjoys my
그러기
life.
위해서
Me too. So I always try hard to have a positive attitude. Ooh, I like that he followed it up with that because I want to be somebody who always enjoys my life, and the follow-up being I try hard to have a positive attitude. Because that is absolutely a big key to enjoying your life is having a positive attitude. And yeah, sometimes you have to try really hard to have a positive attitude. But if you go for that, you are going to enjoy life way more.
살아가려고 노력을 하고 주변 사람들에게까지
And show my
그런
positive image to other
긍정적인
people.
모습을 보여주려고 노력하고 있습니다.
One last thing.
제가 연습생을
Lots of
시작하고
people have
나서부터
supported
되게
and
많은
helped me a lot.
분들께서 저를 응원해
Since I
주시기도
became a
하고
trainee,
도움을 많이 주시기도 했는데 감사하다라는
I want to say
말씀을
thank
꼭
you to them.
전하고 싶고요. 그런 감사함을 꼭
I would
제가
always do my
열심히 해서
best.
보답할 수 있도록
Be a person who
하는
can
멋있는
make it
사람이
up to them.
되겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Very cool. Yeah, I know that like this stuff, being a trainee is not cheap, and families in general definitely go through a sacrifice in order to allow their kids to go through this trainee lifestyle. I mean, unless they're kind of independently wealthy, because from what I've heard of everything that they do as a trainee, all of the lessons that they take, they do genuinely undergo basically training. They learn languages. They have personal trainers to help out with their physicality and stuff. Like, I would not be surprised if becoming a trainee was just as expensive as going to like a decent college. Like, that's okay. Hunter.
안녕하세요. 저는
18.
18살 헌터입니다. 혈액형은 O형이고
Blood typo,
MBTI는
ISTP.
ISTP고 보컬 포지션을 맡고
Vocal.
있습니다.
What word do you want to hear the most?
제가 가장 듣기
What I want to hear the
좋아하는
most
말은
is
많이 늘었다 하나
You've done well,
잘했다인 것
or you got a
같아요.
lot better.
저는 혼자서
When I
연습하면서
practice alone,
마음대로
sometimes
잘
it goes
될 때가
well,
있고
but sometimes it goes
잘안
wrong.
될 때도 있는데 연습이
On the day when it goes wrong,
잘했다라는
I feel like being
칭찬을
recognized when
들으면
someone says you've
인정을
done well
받는
to me.
기분이
Yeah, so he's saying, obviously they practice together as groups, but they're also practicing on their own individual skills. And he has bad days. We all have bad days when, something just doesn't come out right. You just can't make it sound how he wants it to sound, I take it. And on those days, he's like, man, I just want somebody to tell me I'm doing well. It's like, I just want to hear somebody compliment me. I just need that right now. Yeah.
들어서 많이 늘었다 하나
That's why I
잘했다라는
like
말을
you've done
좋아합니다.
well or you got a lot better. What do you want to emphasize among your characteristics?
저는 평소에
I look completely different while dancing and
추거나
singing.
노래할 때랑 평소의 모습이랑 완전 달라서
I
추거나
look
노래할
cool
때
while singing and
모든
dancing
걸
with my full
쏟아붓고
strength.
되게 멋있는 헌터가 되는데 평소에는
But I'm usually
그냥
shy and
조용하고
quiet after my
좀
performance is
낯을
over.
많이 가리는 헌터가 되는데 저의 반전 매력을
So I want you to watch me
보시면 좋을 것
with
같습니다.
full of surprises. Why did you want to be a singer?
저는 어렸을
When I was
때
young, I went up on my first stage at
무대를
school.
해봤는데 그때 즐거움이랑
I could not forget how happy I
감정을
was and what I felt on that day.
절대 잊을 수 없을 것 같아요. 그 무대를 하면서
While I was
와
performing,
진짜 재밌다.
I thought, oh,
나
it's
계속
really good.
앞으로 이런
I'd like to do
일을
this for my whole life.
해야겠다라는
So he's had a dream for a while,
생각이
it sounds
들어서
like.
그때부터 춤추는 거랑
And that's when I
노래하는
started to like
걸 많이
singing and
좋아하게
dancing.
됐던 것 같아요.
So he likes how it feels to be on stage. Very cool. How did you feel when you first became a trainee?
저는 처음 연습생이 됐을
When
때
I first became a trainee,
많이 긴장됐고
I was nervous and lots of thoughts were going on in my
걱정도
mind.
많이 했는데 다른 연습생
Other trainees
친구들이
took great care
너무
of me.
잘 챙겨줘서 좋은
Because yeah, I know that he's from Thailand, so like the other dude, other people are taking care of him because he's living in the dorms at a young age, and so he's got these other guys are just helping to take care of him because there are not a whole lot of people who in their mid-teens are living in a completely different country, in such a I can only imagine what it feels like to move countries and go into a K-pop training agency. It's like, yeah, you need somebody to take care of you, so I can get off on the right foot as a trainee. Who's back there? Hey. How are you? You beat you to it. Sorry. Grace.
말을 할 수 있었던 것 같아요.
What's the most memorable episode of your trainee days?
최근에
Recently, I prepared
다른
hard
유학생
for my monthly
친구들이
evaluation
정말
with other trainees.
열심히 월말 평가 준비를 했었는데 평소보다
We practiced longer than
오랜
usual,
시간을 가져서 너무 힘들고
so I was exhausted and distracted.
승력이 떨어진 저를 민재 형이
But Min Jae
좋은
Hyung gave
조언을
good
많이
advice
해주고
for me and
잘
guided me well.
끌어주셔서 저한테는
His
엄청
help was
큰
great
힘이
support to
되었던
me.
것 같아요.
Alright, so leader leading. Nice. What is your main concern these days?
저의 정체성을
I'm
찾는 게
concerned
가장 큰
I'm
고민.
concerned about finding my own identity. So we heard that, again earlier about, kind of just finding out who you are, not knowing yourself entirely, and again, young guy, and just kind of figuring out who you are now that you're becoming into your own as an adult.
입니다. 요즘 연습하면서
Recently, I'm trying to
저의
maximize my
장점을
strength while
최대한
practicing.
살리면서 연습하려고 노력하고 있는데 다른 사람들한테
I'm thinking about how I can show
어떻게
my strength well to other people.
보여드리면 좋을지에 대한 고민을 많이 하고 있는 것 같습니다.
What's your solution to your concerns?
저는 부모님들과
I usually get
영상
support and
통화를
advice
하면서
by having a video call with my
조언과
parents.
힘을
Nice.
얻고
So yeah, the others are saying a lot about how they talk to the people around them and get advice and everything. And this dude's like, call mom and dad. That means he probably has a pretty solid relationship with his family, which is really cool. Like you know that when a young man calls home for advice, that like that's a pretty healthy relationship. I usually get support and advice. Good.
혼자 생각 정리를
And I
하는 게
organize my own
큰
thoughts
도움이
by
되는 것
myself.
같습니다.
Yeah, so he calls for advice, and then he just kind of has some time alone and thinks about it and organizes his thoughts. What kind of person are you?
처음 보면
I'm an introvert who gets
낯을 많이
shy
가리고
easily.
부끄러움이 많은 사람인데 저랑 같이
But I can make you feel
친해질수록
comfortable and joyful
편안하고
after we get close to each other. Yeah,
즐거움이
very
많은
common amongst
사람입니다.
introverts. They like being comfortable with the people that they open up to. What kind of person do you want to be?
에너지가
I
넘치고
want to be an energetic
열정도
person filled with
넘치고
enthusiasm.
열심히 하는 사람이 되고 싶습니다. 저는 다른
Other
연습생
trainees always help
친구들한테
me to be
좋은
energetic.
에너지를 받기 때문에 저도 똑같이
And I want to be the
주변
same kind of person who
사람들한테
can support others
에너지를
to be
줄 수 있는
energetic.
사람이 되고 싶습니다.
Okay, so it's like, hey, everybody, I'm just chill. I'm like this. I just sit on the chair like this, and I'm just chill. And other people are those who bring my mood up, and I want to be able to kind of, flip it and bring other people's mood up instead of, sitting here chill. Everybody, sitting here chill is also good. It's fine. One last thing you would like to say.
제가 연습생
My family, friends, and lots of other people have supported me since I first became a trainee.
저를 응원해줬던 사람들과 가족들과 친구들한테 고맙다는 말
wanna say thanks
해주고
to them.
싶고 저는 앞으로 멋있고
To be a cool
모든
person
걸
who is good at
잘하는
everything.
헌터가 될 테니 저를 계속
Please keep your
지켜봐 주세요.
eyes on me. Very nice. Do we have one more? I think it's one more, not two. Two more, not one. Two more, not one. In we go.
안녕하세요. 저는 18살 정유진입니다. 혈액형
Jung Yujin. It sounded like it was a much more silent J. Yujin?
안녕하세요. 저는 18살 정유진입니다. 혈액형은
Yeah. Jung Yujin. I'll have to practice that a few times.
안녕하세요.
Yujin.
저는 18살 정유진입니다.
18 years
혈액형은
old.
O형이고
Blood type O,
MBTI는
ISFP.
ISFP이고 포지션은 보컬을 맡고
Vocal.
있습니다.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
활동적, 친절,
I choose active,
단순한
kind, simple-minded.
가져왔습니다. 제가
Active, kind, simple-minded. I chose kind because I'm
제
sort of
연습생 중에서
kind. I'm sort of
친절한
kind
편이어서
one among the
친절을
trainees.
가져왔습니다. 그리고 제가 단순한
And I
면이 좀
chose
있어서
simple-minded because I'm
단순함도
sort of
가져왔습니다.
simple-minded. Which I'm guessing, yeah, he doesn't probably mean simple-minded. When we use simple-minded, we usually mean it as not intelligent. I don't think he means it that way. It probably means it like he just keeps things simple, like like not, it doesn't complicate things, you know, doesn't like to complicate things, just like keeps things simple. What do you say the most often these days?
제가 연습생 중에서
No other trainees can eat as
먹장이어서
much as me,
배고프다라는
so I
말을 좀
often
자주
say
하는
I'm
것 같습니다.
hungry.
배고플 땐
I
혼자서
can eat
라면을
4
4개 정도
ramens when
먹을
I'm
수
hungry. It's a lot of noodles.
있을
It's a lot of
정도로
noodles.
저는 잘 먹습니다.
So you're telling me he has a crazy metabolism. Okay, okay. What did you want? Why did you want to be a singer?
제가 어렸을 때
Participated in my school
장기자랑에서
talent show
그
when I was
무대를
young.
섰었는데 그때 너무
It
재밌고
felt so excited
행복해가지고
and happy,
그
so I
꿈을
wanted to
가지게
be a
됐습니다.
singer. Yeah, a lot of these guys are talking about talent shows in their school settings and how being able to perform kind of unlocked something in them. Nice. How did you feel when you first became a trainee?
저 처음
It was
연습생이
my
됐을
first time to
때
become a trainee,
연습생
so I
자체가
was very excited.
처음이어가지고 되게 설레고 어떻게 하면
And I was thinking about how I
빨리
could get
적응할
used to
수
my training
있을까라는
as soon as possible.
생각을 좀 하고 있었던 것 같습니다.
What's the most memorable episode of your training days?
제가 연습하면서
There was a
가장
moment when I was
무서웠던 경험이
horrified
있었는데
during my training.
예찬이랑 저랑
Yichan and I were listening to Yichan's rapping in
별로
the vocal room
3번방에서
number 3.
예찬이의 랩을 듣고 있었는데 갑자기
And the
키보드가
keyboard was
혼자
played by
쳐지고
itself, and the
노래도
song
혼자
suddenly
나와가지고
began to
저랑
play.
예찬이랑 너무
Yichan and I were
무서워서
horrified and ran
뛰쳐나왔던
away together. There's a ghost.
경험이
There's a
있었어요.
ghost, everyone. Or the keyboard just did an autoplay on a preset song and it was programmed into it. That's awesome. What is your main concern these days?
저희가 요즘
I'm
춤추면서
practicing
노래하는
singing
연습을
while
하고
dancing
있는데
these days.
처음 하다
It's my first time to do the singing and dancing at the same time, so we've heard a similar concern. So it's really hard for me.
되게
That's my main
어려워가지고
concern.
그게 고민인 것 같습니다.
What's your solution to your concerns? Stamina. Stamina.
일단은 저는
I thought I
체력이
should build up
문제라고
my stamina
생각해가지고
first.
혼자서 개인으로
That's why I started to work out
체력
regularly.
운동을 좀 많이 하고 있습니다.
What kind of person are you?
저는
I'm
노력하는
a person
사람입니다.
who always works
현재
hard. I want to be
다방면으로
good at
좀 더
lots of
잘하고
things.
싶기 때문에 열심히
So
노력을
I'm
하고
working on them
있는
as hard as I can.
중입니다.
What kind of person do you want to be?
저는 노력을
I want
결과로
to be a person
보여드리고
who can
싶은
show
사람이
the
되고
results
싶습니다.
of hard work.
앞서 말했던 것들을 다
I'm going to keep
지켜서
everything I said.
끊임없이 발전하는
So I'm going to keep the words. I'm going to keep my word. Basically, I want to be the kind of person who keeps my word. I'll do my best to develop
사람이
myself
될 수
constantly.
있도록 계속 노력하겠습니다.
One last thing.
지금까지 정유준이었습니다.
Again, my name is.
저는 계속 발전.
Let's see how you pronounce it again.
지금까지 정유준이었습니다. 저는 계속
I will
발전할
try my
테니
best to
저를
develop
믿고
myself, so I hope you
지켜봐
believe me and
주시면
keep your eyes on me.
감사하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Very nice. Uno mas. Let's get into the maknae here. Okay, this is the other dude who
안녕하세요.
was
저는
spooked by
18살
the keyboard.
이해찬입니다. 혈액형은
Hang on,
A형이고
pronounce it.
MBTI는
Oops, pronounce it. Where are we at?
안녕하세요. 저는 18살 이해찬입니다. 혈액형은
Yechan. Okay, so it's a
A형이고
soft
안녕하세요.
ch. Soft ch. Yechan. 18 years old.
저는 18살 이해찬입니다. 혈액형은 A형이고
Blood type A.
MBTI는
ESFP, the other extrovert.
포지션은 랩입니다.
Rap. Describe yourself in 3 words.
저를 표현할 수 있는 단어 3가지는 왕눈이,
Big eyes,
막내,
the youngest.
말랑이입니다.
Malang, soft.
그 이유는
I chose those words because I have big
눈도
eyes,
크기도
and
하고
I'm the youngest.
막내이고 말랑이는
I
제가
have soft
볼살이
cheeks.
말랑말랑해서
I chose the word
말랑이입니다.
malang. And braces. It's adorable. Okay, what is your life motto? To be of that age and have a life motto,
남보다
I'll tell you.
잘하려고
But he has one. It's don't try to be better than others. Just try to be better
하지
than
말고
yesterday's me.
어제
Very
나보다
nice.
잘하려고 하라입니다.
Very nice.
계속 이렇게 연습을
While
하다
training, I could
보면은
not help to compare
사람도
myself to many
많으니까
other trainees. Extremely natural.
비교를 할
Yeah.
수밖에 없는 상황도 많긴 한데 그럴 때마다
But I figured out I
계속
was the only one having a hard time because of that. Okay. So again, it sounds like there's this much more healthy concept of competition inside of KQ. Because he's like, dude, I was comparing myself to everybody else and I was having a really hard time because I wasn't there. And it sounds like, hey, he got the advice to like stop comparing yourself to other people and just get better. Just get better as yourself. Just get better. Don't look at what other people are doing. Just get better
생각해보니까
than
저만
you were yesterday.
힘들어지는 것 같고 차라리 어제
I think it would be
저와
better for
오늘의
me I think it would be better for me to compare
저를
myself to yesterday's
비교하면서
me.
더 성장하는 게 저한테도 더 좋은 것 같아서 그래서 제 좌우명은
That's why my
남보다
life's
잘하려고
motto
하지
is don't try to be
말고
better than others,
어제
just try to be
나보다
better
더
than
잘하려고
yesterday's me.
하라로 정하게 되었습니다.
Why did you want to be a singer?
저는 어렸을
I
때
played many musical
악기도
instruments with my
했었고
sister when I was young.
저희 누나도 악기를 하고 그래서 자연스럽게 음악을 많이
Music has
접하게
become a part of my
되었거든요.
life since then.
그래서 자연스럽게
That's why I've
가수를 하고
naturally wanted to be a
싶다라는
singer.
생각이 들게 되었습니다.
How did you feel when you first became
제가
a
처음
trainee?
연습생이
When I was 14. Ooh, I was 14 when I first became a trainee. Yeah, I would assume that when you're 14, it's especially hard not to look around and compare yourself to others because, I mean, he was probably one of the younger people at the company at the time, I would think. There's probably a lot of like 17, 18, 19-year-olds there. And yeah, the temptation of a 14-year-old to look at, you know, these kind of older guys and be like, oh man, I'm not there yet. Like, dude, you're 14.
됐을 때가 14살이었는데 그땐 엄청
I
어리고
was too young
그래서
to know
아무것도
what was
모르고
going
그냥
on. It's good of him to recognize. So I just thought it would be fun when I first became a
재밌겠다
trainee.
이런
Fun. Never sleeping.
생각만
It's like,
가지고 연습생을 시작했던 것 같습니다.
what's the most memorable episode of your trainee
제가
days?
가장 기억에
My
남는
most memorable
순간은
moment was so horrifying. Is he going to tell the same story?
불을 다 끄고
As I was about to
나가려고
turn off
하는데
every light and
청소기가
leave
갑자기
for the day, and the vacuum cleaner was suddenly
켜졌거든요.
turned on by
그때 너무
itself. So we have a ghost operating the keyboard and a ghost operating the vacuum. That's awesome. The moment was
무서웠던
so
기억이
horrifying
있어가지고
to me.
그게 가장
I'm guessing it's not the kind of stand-up vacuum I'm thinking of that we all grew up vacuuming with. It was probably like a little friggin' Zoom or whatever on the floor that started its cleanup routine because, you know, everybody was supposed to be gone for the day, so it went on its programmed cleaning route. But he's a kid. So the vacuum turns on in a dark, quiet room and he runs away. That's awesome. That is awesome.
기억에 남는 에피소드인
That's
것
awesome.
같습니다.
What's your main concern these days?
항상
I
연습하면서
often feel not a Zoom. That's a webcam thing. Roomba. Is that it? I often feel dissatisfied with myself while
저에 대해서
practicing.
만족을 못할 때가 많거든요. 그걸 어떻게
So I'm thinking about what I should
제가
do to be
저한테
satisfied
만족을
with
할수
myself.
있을까 하는 그런
Okay, yeah, part of that intentionality again is like he recognized that there's something that he is dissatisfied about. And instead of just practicing, he's like, okay, like what do I need it to do to get better at this thing? Like there's this thing. I gotta determine what it is that I'm not satisfied with, narrow down on it, and figure out how to get better at that. Nice. That's what I'm concerned about these days. What's your solution to your concerns?
마인드를 좀
I'm just going to
바꾸려고 하고
change my
있습니다.
mindset.
제가 뭘 하든
I
그냥
always try to be
자신감을
confident.
가지고
I will
항상
always try to be confident. I'll always
뭐 해야겠다
Nice.
이런 생각을 가지고 고민을 해결.
Yeah, and again, he's really young. He's really young. So, you know, for him not to have a whole lot of confidence is, you know, he'll get there. He will get there. I think I can get rid of my concerns by consistent training. What kind of person are you?
저는
I'm a
아직
person who
저한테
cannot be
만족을
satisfied
하지
with
못하는
myself yet.
사람입니다. 제가 그냥
When I practice my
평소에도
performance,
저를
looking in the mirror,
거울로 연습하면서 보면서 그냥 계속 저한테
I want to
만족을
be
하고
satisfied
싶은데
with
그게
myself.
쉽지 않아서
But it's not that easy.
아직은
So I'm a
저한테
person who
만족을
cannot
하지
be
못하는
satisfied with
사람인 것
myself yet. Yeah, and we're also our harshest critics sometimes. Like, how many people look in the mirror and we're like, yeah. What kind of person do you want to be?
저
I want to be a
자체를
person who can make
제가
myself proud.
자랑스럽게 여길 수 있는 그런 사람이 되고 싶습니다. 제 자신이 좀
I'd
더
like to be more
어딜 가나
confident in
자신감
whatever
있게
situation I'm
행동할 수
in.
있게 좀 더 저한테
I want to be a person who can
만족할
be
수 있는
satisfied with
사람이
myself.
되고 싶습니다.
Yeah, so a lot of talk about just wanting to have that confidence, and a lot of that being satisfied with myself is a confidence thing. You know, where it's not like you're looking in that mirror and going, yeah. It's you're looking in the mirror and being like, all right, satisfied. You know, not like you're epically amazing. It's just satisfied. You know, is that confidence to be satisfied with where you are. One last thing.
제가 앞으로
I'm gonna start
어떻게
behaving in a
바뀌어가고
better way in the future.
어떻게 더 좋은
In the future, not yet. It's probably not what he meant. He's the maknae, man. He's young. He's like, hey, I'm gonna start behaving in a better way, which probably means that he recognizes that he has some growing up to do.
사람으로 변할지 항상 지켜봐 주세요.
Please keep your eyes on me.
감사합니다.
Nice. All right, that was long. But okay. I'm feeling that I'm getting a better feel for things. So let's dive into some content next. I'll probably put the first episode up here on Patreon, up here on YouTube, and do the rest on Patreon. We'll see how it goes. Let's just see how it goes. How's that? But content incoming. So subscribe, check out Patreon as well, all that good stuff.